A member of former Presidents Lyndon B. Johnson and Jimmy Carter's administrations was in Austin sharing his insights on Washington. In Texas this week, I sit down with Joseph Califano to talk politics and his new book, Our Damaged Democracy. Mr. Califano, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
It's great to be here.
You know, you have spent more than 30 years in Washington serving in an array of pivotal roles. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience.
Well, I came first in the Kennedy administration to work in the Pentagon. I worked for Robert McNamara, and then I went in 1965 to the White House to be President Johnson's chief aide for domestic affairs. All those great society programs. And then, exhausted as I was, I came back again to be Secretary of Health, Education, and Welfare under President Jimmy Carter. And I practiced law for years. I represented the Washington Post during Watergate, a variety of clients. I mean, the whole range from the Coca-Cola to the Black Panthers. I had quite an interesting law practice.
You recently wrote a book that is more of a little bit of a call to action for Americans. It's titled Our Damaged Democracy, We the People Must Act. Let's start with why you feel our democracy is damaged.
Okay. And the point of the book is, if people understand how it's damaged and why, exactly the right question, our people will act. They know. They will figure out a way to fix it. The damage starts with the three branches of government: the presidency, the Congress, and the courts. They've lost their constitutional bearings.
Califano says there are 6 issues interrupting America's democracy. Let's focus in on a few of them.
There's a colossal concentration of power on the president. The last president over the last 50 years have sent millions of Americans into combat. 100,000 have died, 1 million have been wounded. There's been no declaration of war. Probably most people under 30 don't realize that the Constitution of the United States gives to the Congress exclusive power to declare war. Congress has ceded that. And the huge explosion of the presidential staff was about 5 people in Lyndon Johnson's administration, 50 people in Lyndon Johnson's administration. It's almost 2,000 today. What happened? We have a state-run media. We have a communications department. We have whitehouse.gov. We have YouTube, whitehouse.gov. We have the White House Internet. We have the White House Interactive Internet. All of this to burnish the president and his programs. It really started to explode a little under George W. Bush, then with Obama tremendously, and with Trump, who added tweeting and Facebook and the whole rest. It's a serious problem. Usually, you don't have a media like that unless you're a monarchy or you're a dictatorship. We're a democracy. The Congress is crippled. I mean, they ceded the war power to the president. They've also ceded the power to make international agreements. 98% of international agreements are not treaties that have to be confirmed by 2/3 of the Senate. They're considered just executive agreements that nobody has to approve. The court is in the last 10 years, 50 court decisions in which the 4 Republican justices have voted one way with the Republican way and the 4 Democratic justices the Democratic way, and Anthony Kennedy has split the balance. And the court is getting more and more politicized. At the lower federal courts, look, if you want to blow out Obama's immigration plan, you go to the Eastern District of Texas, here in Texas, and you get a judge, he'll give you a nationwide injunction. If you want to blow out Donald Trump's immigration plan, you go to San Francisco. You get a liberal Democratic judge, and he'll give you a nationwide injunction. That's not what people look to the courts for. They look to the courts to help them deal with their problems. And so we have that problem too. And all of this plays out with a whole lot of, the book describes a lot of fault lines in American society. You know, we all know about the income gap. It's enormous. But the education gap. I mean, the number of people under 24, over 24, with bachelor's degrees in the top quartile has soared. It's almost tripled. The number of bachelor degrees in the last 20 years, the number of bachelor degrees for people over 24 in the lowest quartile, it's barely gone up from 6% to 8%. So we're spreading that. And then poor rural schools, poor urban schools in minority areas, they're lousy, let's face it. They're not good. And we can't have a world in which we have, as the Department of Education says, 40% of the seniors in high school can't do basic math and can't handle basic reading. These people are easy prey for the madmen of politics, advertising with the bumper sticker and the tweet, and you say, oh, I'll just vote for him.
When Texas This Week continues, Califano weighs in on what he thinks will repair these issues.